All right. So, Baruch Hashem, we're learning Eitzos Hamivoros, the annotated advice is based on Rabbi Nachman's advice, is based on Likutei Halachos that is taken from Likutei Maran. So we are continuing the in of Emes and Emunah. Those people that do not believe in miracles, and they say that everything that happens in the world and everything that happens on every person specifically is just natural occurrence. Even when they see by their own eyes, they see miracles, mamish. They say that this is teva, this is nature. These people are harmful to the way of Amunah, to the way of Tefillah, and they're harming the Kedushas Eretz Yisrael.
Wow.
And because of them, the exile becomes longer.
Wow.
Because the true Geula can only come through real Amunah. So when the Amunah in the macro and the micro, in other words, Bechlal Israel, and by a person himself, when it becomes diminished, then the Hashgacha for Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kiviyachol Chas v'Shalom, his Hashgacha is also being diminished. In other words, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, as it were, is not, it's not mashgiach to retrieve and to deliver his children properly and save them from tzaras and yisurim and give them their sustenance without yisurim, because the shmira from tzaras and yisurim and receiving everything that you need, all your physical needs, is very easy because they come from the Hashgacha Kodesh Baruch Hu Berachamim, when the Emunah of Israel is proper. But when the Emunah becomes diminished, the wrath of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is awakened. And without getting into the details of how it actually causes it, what it does is Tzaddikim Emes do not accept upon themselves to lead the world. And then the world does not have a true leader. So how can you undo that? The answer is when you break the kas, the anger, and you're turning into rachmanas. In other words, when the anger comes up and you squash it and you push it aside, and you have rachmanas on the person that you're angry on, this actually erases the anger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the world. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself has rachmanas on the world, and he cancels his own wrath. And then Mimela, the Tzaddikim Emes accept upon themselves the Anhaga, to be leaders, to lead people. In other words, to teach the Derech Emes, Derech HaYosher, to people who want to learn from them. Every person according to what he needs. And it's through these Tzaddikim Emes you can get to the true Tachlis. In other words, by true Iskarvus Tzaddikim Ador, you are zecher to really understand and digest and process the true tachlis of this world. What do you say? You can talk about anything.
the true tachlis of this world.
Yeah.
I didn't get the by canceling your own anger and turning it into rachmonis,
Yeah.
that changes the the attitude of Hashem towards us and the tzaddikim. And then what was the last part of that? And then
The tzaddikim accept upon themselves the leadership of Am Yisrael,
uh-huh.
and when they do, they're able to show every single Jew the way to achieving emuna amitis and really like
Uh-huh.
internalizing what's the tachlis in this world. You see that the thing is that this world, per definition, this world per definition is cheating. I mean, and it's on purpose. It's on purpose because otherwise we'll have no choice. So what happens is that this astara, this concealment, uh, makes it so that even though we know generally what is the tachlis in this world, what is the reason, why are we here, it's sort of like we know it, but we don't really know.
We know, but we don't really know.
I mean, it's a surface knowledge. It's not a deep conviction. Yeah, we know. It's what we're supposed to do, and we're doing things, we're learning, we're davening, whatever it is. But everything is sort of has like this civilian amateurish veneer. Like, okay, I'm doing my nation, I'm doing Hashem, I'm doing whoever it is that I think I'm doing a favor,
Uh-huh.
by doing that. Hey, but
Uh,
when a person realizes, you know, what is the inevitability of Olam Haba, if he is able to internalize this inevitability, or let's put it this way, we all are internalizing this inevitability, but we are all also pushing it away so in the meantime we can have some fun. Do you know what I mean?
yes, yes, I certainly do.
So it's like, I mean, it's not happening yet. It's like you see that people, when and if something, catastrophic is hovering over their head, uh, they become instantly serious. Everything that this world has to offer them becomes totally meaningless. Did the Yankees win or they lost or I don't care. I mean, it's like, what are you bothering me with that? But according to how deeply a person internalizes this idea, this is how much a person uh, obviously will devote energies, dedication, attention, focus on what he does for the tachlis, for Elam Haba. And the only way to do that, and also to do it properly, is when you're getting the guidance from the Tzaddikim. So that's why it is crucial, it's vital that they accept upon themselves to teach us. And to be mashgiach on us. It's a very interesting nakuda. We basically feel, I mean, this is, I don't know if we feel, but there's a notion that the hadracha, the guidance of tzaddikim is sort of like, it's general. It's like, basically they tell us what to do, they write svarim, they whatever it is that they do, and they teach us. And and if we care to listen, then we listen. If we, as much as we care to listen, and so forth. But people don't realize how profound is the attention that the tzaddik emes gives to each one of his people. I mean, the tzaddik is not around us for us to ask him face to face. We can ask his talmidim, yes. We'll receive from his talmidim, from their rabbis, all the way to Rabbeinu. But there is a personal hashgocha, as it were, to every person, or upon every person, and that during his lifetime, being by himself, doing what he's doing, as Rabbeinu said, achofetz be'emes, anybody who really seeks the truth, wants the truth, he's being given an angel of truth. In other words, the truth will be revealed to him. It's quite fascinating. I say, well, Moshiach will come, Zat Hashem, sooner nowadays. How will we know that he's Mashiach? What do you think of that question?
I guess we have to refine ourselves to the point and be sure enough to recognize him. If we're just kind of in our own little world and not connected to the tzaddik emes, we won't recognize him. I'm thinking that we have to prepare ourselves. We have to be the right kalim to be able to see him.
Well, this is bevadei truth, but this is too much of a religious answer.
Okay.
What I mean is that we need to be, if we need to be, then if we are, then we recognize him. But this is not how we're going to recognize him. We are going to recognize Mashiach is because Mashiach will, by you interacting with him, will tell you what transpired on every single day of your life and why it happened. This is how you'll know that he's Mashiach.
Wow.
He said, but I mean, how much time he's going to spend with each and every one of us? It'll take years. No, it's instantaneous. when during the time that Rabbeinu Kodesh Vanero used to had the anhaga of people, they were confessing before him Erev Shoshana. They still do it by the Tzin. There were hundreds of people. So what was happening is that Rabbeinu was sitting in a room with his face to the wall, and a person would come in and would say a couple of words, and Rabbeinu would go, okay, next one. And people came out of there bawling their eyes out, testifying that they actually told Rabbeinu every single sin, aggression, crime, big or small, that they ever did in their lives. And all they said was just 2-3 words. This is the hashpah of the Tzaddikim, that he bends down to where you are. And with a word or two, he already lets you know a wealth of information. I was speaking to my son the other day, and there's rather a famous story. There was in Chabad a very famous chassid. His name was Rav Mendel Putefas. Was a very special Yid and Mesa Nefesh, in Stalinist Russia, and he was his wife and daughter lived in London. He managed to get out to London, but he himself was exiled to Siberia and was put into jail in Siberia. And one day he decided, I don't know if it was the last Rebbe or the one before him, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Chabad timetable. But Ramenu Putefas decided in jail that he's in Chabad. What they do is they give they give pidyon nefesh to the Rebbe. They write on a piece of paper what they have, what's their conditions, whatever it is, and they ask for an Eitzah, for Yeshua, whatever. And years later, when he was released, his wife showed him that she got a letter from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Rebbe at that time, I'm not sure if, as I said before, which one it was, that her husband is okay, because they didn't know anything. Her husband is okay, and he, it'll take some time, and he's going to be released, and he's going to meet her in London. And Lemendel Putefas took a look, and he saw the date of this letter, and he basically fainted, because the date was exactly the day that he decided he's going to give the Rebbe a pidyon nefesh. He didn't even have a paper to write it on. He just did it in his mind.
Mm.
That's the connection with true tzaddikim and their people. There's also a story that I heard, a klisheni, it wasn't Kli Rishon, it was a klisheni, that Dafka Mendel Putefas was very close to what's his name? The Rebbe that lived in Monsey, and was a very, very holy man. And I'll think of it. I'll think Hashem the name. And one day, a person comes to him. So he looks at him, Ribnitz, Rebbe of the Ribnitzer Rebbe. Thank you, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Ribnitzer Rebbe, who was actually a friend of Mendel Putterfass. He was sitting in his room in Monsey, and a person came in, and the Rebbe looked at him and asked him, he says, "Where do I know you from?" I have no idea. We never met before. So the Rebbe says, I know you from somewhere. So the person said, I don't know, but years ago, when I was still a bocher, before I got married, I went to Kever Shimon HaTzadik. In Kever Shimon HaTzadik, they had, I wanted to say some Tillim, but all they had is, the breast of a Tikkun HaKlali. So in the very beginning, it says, Areini Mekasha, I'm connecting myself to all the true Tzaddikim, especially to Rabbi Nachman. And he said, I'm not the breast of the Chassid, so I decided, who am I going to Mekasha myself to? Who's going to connect myself to? So I decided I will be Mekasha myself to you, to the Ribnitzer Rebbe. And I said to him, the Rebbe says, that's it. This is where I remember you from.
Oh my gosh.
So to be a true tzaddik doesn't just mean that you're a good boy. Oh, it's mamish tzaddik. Unbelievable. It's a whole different kind of being. Especially when we're talking about the really, really great tzaddikim, which is the tzaddik emes shabador, Yechidei Adoros, as they say, like Rabbeinu, like Moshiach. So when we will meet Mashiach B'ezrat Hashem soon, immediately upon meeting him, saying something, Mashiach will immediately recognize it. This is called by smell. He will smell our Yiras Shamayim. As we learn on Thursday night, we learn Tereches Chelek Beis Likutei Moharan. He will smell, what is the essence? What is the smell of Yiras Shamayim? The essence of every single person is Yiras Shamayim, on the spot. And any kind of defects in the Yiras Shamayim, he will recognize immediately, on the spot. And he will impart to each and every one of us the such awareness that we will remember every single day of our lives, what we did in that day, what went over us in that day, and we will understand why it is we had to go through that.
Wow.
How we will know that he's Mashiach. And
that's a whole different, yes.
and Achinama, but you're right. I mean, Lamaisa, the way to hasten the coming of the Mashiach is by increasing the emunah. The emunah and what? Emunah that the Kodesh Baruch Hu performs miracles. And when we see that something happens, it's not a natural thing that it should happen. It's a miracle. I'm not trying to explain it away. Adam, if I can't. My chavrus on the koilel, he told me about one man that drove up to, it was a rainy day in Yerushalayim, and he drove up to the yeshiva where he learned, and the Rosh Yeshiva was coming out at that moment, and so he told Rosh Yeshiva, "Come, I'll give you I'll give you a lift, take you home." And so Rosh Hashiva came to the car, Baruch Hashem, he drove him, and this person said to Rosh Hashiva, what a gewaltige hashgacha that I came just as he came out, and so you didn't have to get wet from the rain. So Rosh Hashiva told him, yesterday I came out and I got drenched. This was also hashgacha pratis, just as it is today when you have come to pick me up. What do you say?
What do I?
Yeah, it's a conversation.
Hashkatas process. He got rained on, and that was Hashkatas process.
Yeah. It's hashgacha pratis that it
Accepts
rained,
everything.
got
Accepts
wet.
everything. Accepts everything.
Exactly right. Everything is hashgacha pratis. The only difference between now and after and Yemot Mashiach will be, until obviously Tchis HaMesim and everything afterwards it'll be the hashgacha will be open. That everybody will realize that it's tit for tat all the time. It's an instant relationship between me and the Kodesh Baruch Hu, between you and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's now that too. But then it'll be there'll be no more okay, like that's the way of the world, so I can rely upon that. That this is this pink eye that I have, it takes that that many days to get over. So I can just relax about it because it's just, that's the way of the world. That's how long it takes. This is also Hashgacha Pratis. And when after Mashiach will come, that illusion that I don't need, special dispensation, special chesed Kadosh Baruch Hu, to get my deliverance, because there's nature, and as is, it's going to pass. That won't be there anymore. Everything will be Hashgacha Pratis, tit for tat, on the spot. This is what you get when you are sitting in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool. I just my own little incident. I was coming back from shul on Friday night, and where I live in the fields, I travel on a gravel road for a couple of miles, for a mile or so, and there's been a lot of rain and a lot of mud, and and so I had my boots on. I didn't see the mud because it was dark. I stepped into the mud. My foot came out of my shoe. I'm walking in in mud. And we're trying to get out of the mud with my shoes. Fell into the mud.
Wow.
Had to get out. And this was my birthday, my birthday, and it was, and I just kind of accepted it. It was like it wasn't fun, but it wasn't so terrible either. It was just like, okay, I kept going, went home, had dinner, and it was like all one flow. It just was all one stream of events. That the dinner was nice, but it was just part of the whole experience of climbing out of the mud.
Absolutely. The first time that we came to Uman in 1989, we reached the Tzion in Uman. At the time, there were no street lamps in the area, because the Tzion is in that part of Uman, the poor part of Uman, the really primitive poor part of Uman. That's the way it was supposed to be. So at night, it was night, you know, no light whatsoever. And we came from Kiev at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was just like drizzling. It wasn't really raining, and we all came off out of the bus, and we walked towards the Tzion of the Rebbe for the first time in my life, in our lives.
Uh-huh.
And on the way to the Tzion, we passed through a puddle, and every single person that went through it got covered with mud, basically, from head to toe.
Oh boy.
And we got to the Tzion. The next morning, it wasn't raining anymore. And I went through the same place, and I saw that the road is as wide as it is today. The Pushkina, the way it comes down, the road that goes down, and you go up to the Tzion, you go to right to the Tzion. So
Yes.
that was the width of the road, and the puddle was maybe 2 feet wide in the middle
Oh.
of the road.
Oh.
In other words, the Rebbe toiveled us in mud on the way to his Tzion. There was no mikveh there, so we toiveled in mud. So it makes a lot of sense what you said. I mean, on your birthday, you Kodesh Baruch Hu, Tzaddikim has toiveled you in mud. Makes sense.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, we will B'ezrat Hashem stop here, and B'ezrat Hashem we'll meet again Thursday, hopefully.
Amen, amen.
Kol Tov.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo,
Cultural.
bravo, Kol.
Cultural.